Hi viewers, we are going to continue with solving first question from WAEC 2026. Today we begin our objective questions. WAEC 2026 objective questions. Question 1. Internal users of accounting information include A. Tax authorities, B. Potential investors, C. Creditors, D. Managers. So let's look at it to find the answer. Tax authorities, these are the people outside the business, like government and tax authorities, those interested in number in order to charge tax. So they are not the answer, because the answer says internal users. Who are the internal users? Those that are running the business activities within the organization. So tax authority is not the answer. B. Potential investors, those that haven't yet invested their money. They are potential investors. So they are already external. So they are not the answer, because the question says internal users of accounting information. Then C. Creditors. Creditors, these are the lenders or people who purchase goods and yet to be paid. They are also external. So therefore, C is also not the answer. But managers, these are the people that are running the business for day-to-day activities, and they are interested in accounting information for making day-to-day decision making. So our answer is D. The answer is D. That is, internal users of accounting information are managers. The second question is, the concept which shows that a business is a body recognized by law is A. Consistency, materiality concept, realization concept, D. Entity concept. Consistency, this concept emphasizes on using a particular method continuously. So it's not the answer. We are talking about the concept that are recognized by law. We show that business is a body recognized by law. So B. Materiality concept. This concept emphasizes that we are taking the record of material things are of value. Then C, option C, realization concept. This concept emphasizes that money is recorded when it is earned. This is what the realization concept emphasized. So it's not the answer. The answer is entity concept. Why? Entity concept emphasizes that the business and the owner are two different things, are separate things. For instance, if I have a provision store and I take a biscuit and eat it, I have to pay for that one, because the business is on its own. I'm also on my own. I have to pay for it. So does if I lend money to the business has to pay me back also. So the concept that emphasizes that is business entity. Number 3, one of the items shown on the debit side of income and expenditure account is A. Profit on bar, B. Interest on deposit, C. Executive honorarium, D. Entrance fee. What you should understand is income and expenditure accounts here. This is our answer for this one. Income and expenditure is just like profits and loss account. Profits and loss account. Expenses is debited while income is credited. So let's look at it. Profit on bar. This is an income. Therefore, it should be credited. And the question says what is debit shown on the debit side. So therefore, this is not the answer. B. Interest on deposit. This is also an income. So therefore, it should be credited, not debited. Then executives honorarium. This should be an expenses. This is an expenses paid for the executives. So this is the answer. This will be debited to the debit side of income and expenditure accounts. Entrance fee is also an income, therefore is not the answer. Our answer is C. Question number 4. Income and not yet received is treated in the balance sheet as current asset, current liabilities, fixed assets, long-term liabilities. So let's say current liabilities. Current liabilities. Current liability will not be an answer because this is what business owes. This is what business owes. And number C, fixed assets. This is an asset we use in the business that have a lifespan of more than 1 year. Let's say land, building, cars, and others. Long-term liability. This is a liability that the business owes for more than 1 year. So that one, this is not the answer also. But current asset should be the answer. Current asset is the answer. Why? Because we have already earned the money. The only thing remains is to collect the money, and we're probably going to collect it within the year. So therefore it should be current liability, since the money will be collected within the year. So number 5, a trader set aside 27,000 naira from her private funds for business purposes. The 27,000 naira is A, a loan, B, profit, C, capital, D, drawings. So the answer is not a loan, because a loan doesn't come from the owner of the business. It comes from an institution or another outsider. So therefore the answer is not a loan. This is not the answer here. Profit. This is what we earn after the operation of the business. The profit comes from the business. So profit also is not an answer. Then drawings. This is when the owner takes some cash or goods for personal use. So this one shouldn't be the answer as well. But when the owner introduces his own personal money into the business, this is what you call a capital. So therefore the answer is capital. The answer is capital.